Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddy Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Oh, you know what time it is. It's time once again for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. As you can see, we are all hot and ready, just like a Little Caesars pizza. But the only difference between us and that pizza is we will not give you the bubble guts. We will not do that. I don't know where the hell that came from, fellas, as a part of the whole incoherent rambling, all right? I'm going to stop that and introduce two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Scotty D, stop stealing my stuff. I'm gonna say this one last time. We are here, the three of us all together. And after a full week of preseason football, you know we're coming through with it. Just want to let everybody know, when he said hot and ready, I was thinking of donuts because I'm fat. But either way, the hot and ready sign is on because your boy, the almighty, a.k.a. before the show, the limitless B-Live is here. But then, I mean, you know, you got to go ahead and introduce the other guy and whatever he likes to do at the beginning of the show. It is what it is. It is what it is. Talk to him.
All right, and the other guy, fresh off his TV appearance, looking intense with the rest of the Donnelly family. He is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, the one, the only, the money man, Scotty D.
Slam. Let the boys be boys. We are excited to be back together. Be live last week. We passed each other in the doorway. So welcome back to my podcast. It's good to have you back here on Scott Donnelly and the Sports Bros Podcast this week.
Why do we continue to do this
every slam ball updates?
Oh my God! Why do we do this every time? Like why do we keep giving him an avenue to talk? This is not nor. We let you have one. Let you have one episode by yourself.
Let the boys be boys. Slam.
This was back in 2019 when we went to the West Coast and let him have the forum by himself one time, and now he wants to put his name up first. One time, I guarantee you, our ratings dropped that week when it was just you you alone. So this does not do Scott Donnelly nothing. And the Sports Bros Podcast. It is the three of us all together in sync.
Are you going to give me a slam ball update, or are you going to make me beg?
We won't have an update until 2023. I just was introducing the fact that we're going to have slam ball back, and it's going to be exciting, great, grand, and wonderful. What's wrong with that? Yeah.
Let the boys be boys. Slam. All right. But in the meantime, I guess I have to get by on preseason football, Eddy Cool. Huh?
Yep, preseason football. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop. I just hopped right into it. The top of the order. All right. Let's get this thing started. Here it is. The top of the order. Fellas, we had a game. Hall of Fame game. And then, like the last few days, we've had some official football games as well, too. They're preseason games, but they're still football games. You know, we kind of, the starters don't start. We kind of get to see what's going on and everything. Or somebody might play a series for like a minute and 25 seconds. So, with that being said, at the first full week, what did you see? Anything interesting of the preseason so far, or anything that caught your attention? Scotty D, what did you see? Which Cowboys? What'd you see?
Well, I'll go ahead and defer to B-Live to make the joke at my expense. Go ahead.
17 penalties?
Yeah.
17. That has got to undisciplined. But you know what? That's not my topic. Scotty D, I put that out there, but I want you to talk about it because I didn't. It was a talking point on one of the figureheads of these letter networks that we watch all the time. But I was like, I went and looked. I was like, jeez, the Cowboys, we them boys. Like, yeah, y'all have no wide receivers. Yeah, what do y'all have? Like, yeah, give me something, Scotty D. Give me something that makes me want to believe in the Cowboys this year. And don't say it's because of the other three teams in the division, because the Eagles are going to easily bypass y'all if y'all are looking the way y'all look right now. I said what I said.
I just read an article a little bit ago say that Cowboy fans are forward to be depleted, and Jerry Jones is not going out to find anybody else because he's counting on Dak Prescott to elevate the ones who are on the team. Well, if you had better guys last year and you couldn't elevate them, what elevating are we doing now? So my hopes are slim. I'm not expecting to once again be the top scoring offense in the NFL. But you'd think if you lead the league in penalties one year, your point of emphasis right off the bat is let's work on this. Let's not get penalties. And you come right out of the gate. It's only preseason, but 17 of them, that's a big number. And if you're an official, don't you get tired of picking it up? When you say like, well, that guy blatantly just held, but my back's hurting from bending over and picking up my hanky, so I'm just going to not throw a penalty flag on this one. It's too early in the season. I'm not in shape yet either. So I mean, you know, some of those guys that are getting flagged, they're not going to be even on the team. But the point is, the head coach is, and in a year that he's going to be under a microscope because he's got not only Dan Quinn but Sean Payton looking over his shoulder, breathing down his neck for his job. You have to work on that discipline right off the bat. And yeah, I just preseason's just so hard to watch all the way across the board. It's hard to watch. I wasn't gonna mention them. I mean I knew B Live was gonna be chomping at the bit to throw that 17 at me, and he didn't disappoint. He didn't let me down. One of the things that actually caught my eye, maybe because it's local to me here in the Pittsburgh area, is that the Steelers have like a 3-horse race for their quarterback spot right now. Mitchell Trubisky was brought in to kind of be the bridge till Kenny Pickett was ready, and Kenny Pickett went out and had a very, very solid opening game performance the other night. People were already saying, "Oh, wow, we're good now. Everything's good." I mean, come on, let's not put the cart before the horse here and go right to the playoffs and Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett. But he did have a good showing in his first time out, and so did Mason Rudolph. From local reports are saying he's the one that's looked the best in camp of anybody. Now, he's probably going to be the odd man out if they decide to only keep 2 quarterbacks. Good chance he could get traded or released and immediately picked up by someone else, because as you see around the league, there's not a lot of stellar quarterback play beyond the starters who didn't play this week. I mean, there's a lot of bad football going on this week. So if you're a half decent quarterback like Rudolph, you know, you're going to get an opportunity probably with somewhere. Maybe they'll release Mitchell Trubisky. We know Pickett's not getting released, and it's highly doubtful that they'll carry all three of those guys. So somebody's going to be on their way out the door. But that's interesting to follow, because if Kenny Pickett continues to impress, he might be starting by opening day. He may end up going out and winning the job, which would be cool. You know, I think the fans here would love that, having a Pitt guy slide right into that role as starting Steeler quarterback. But that was one of the more interesting things I saw from the first week. And I'm not, you guys know my opinion on preseason football. I have a hard time watching it. It's awful. It's sloppy. I mean, heck, week 1 of the NFL is terrible every year. That's the regular starters playing. So this is guys that have been practicing together for 10 days. They don't care about the team. They're just trying to make the team. They're trying to get on, trying to win a roster spot. It's rough footing. B Live, how about you? Did you see anything that struck your interest this past weekend?
See, it's one of those things where we got a yin and yang situation when it comes to the podcast here. Scott normally is the money man is usually doom and gloom when it comes to anything. I don't understand why there was a lot of exciting things to watch during preseason. If you don't have the expectation of seeing great football, I know we're chomping at the bit just to see any bit of football, but it's not going to be good. But you gotta find those gems. You gotta find the diamond in the rough. And that's what I like to do. I like to bring optimism to normally just we know a lot of starters ain't going to play, but there's some that did. You can see there's some franchises that have made decisions to go in a different direction. One that really jumped out to me, we got to see a current quarterback that's most likely going to be the franchise quarterback go against the, I don't know, future franchise quarterback, maybe, sort of, I don't know. When you saw the Green Bay Packers face the San Francisco 49ers, you got to see Trey Lance finally, and you also got to see what his name, Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to a couple Green Bay fans. They're like, "What the hell is going on?" But I will say this: Trey Lance, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon just yet.
No,
I'm not just, but just yet. But we've talked about this before, where he was a dark horse MVP candidate. They talk about he's the next big thing, and we just haven't seen it yet. You throw a 76-yard touchdown pass, you might talk a little bit about it. And he dropped a dime. It wasn't because of second string or third string defenses. This was the majority of the starters on the Green Bay side, and he dropped a dime and dropped to rookie Danny Gray, and 76 yards later, touchdown. That's what you want to see. So Trey Lance might just be that dude. And so there's been a lot of talk about, is he the heir apparent? Why are we getting rid of Jimmy G? Jimmy G's been successful. They beat the 49ers beat the Rams X amount of times. Jimmy G to him. Jimmy G is one this, one that. There's a reason why they're leaning toward Trey Lance, and we might just have already saw it. So I'm curious to see if the hype is true. We'll check into a couple of our resident 49ers fans, Big Kenny out there, my boy Gravity, Marcus Anderson. We'll check in on them to see how much hype they have behind Trey Lance. Jordan Love, on the other hand, the Packers fans are not happy at all. And I'm gonna throw in another caveat real quick, because I'm a diehard Carolina Panthers fan. And so I got to see 4 quarterbacks competing for the starting job. Really, there's only 2 competing for the starting job, and it's really only 1 at this point in time. There's already been rumors that the Panthers are shopping Sam Darnold, which is not going to happen. He's going to end up still being on the team. You don't cut somebody and still owe him $18 million. And then Matt Corral, their 3rd round draft pick. But they gave a majority of the reps to PJ Walker, and everybody knows that he's going to be the odd man out. Why did he get most of the reps? Maybe they're giving him an audition piece to see if he gets picked up on another team. He had flashes of he was decent, but he's clearly a backup quarterback. So hopefully he ends up landing on another team. So PJ Walker, I wish you the best. It's the way the cookie is crumbling right now. He most likely will not be a Panther after the end of the preseason. But it was nice to see. And the second game, we're going to see a little bit more reps from the other 3 quarterbacks. And so I'm not going to get my hopes up, because Panthers, their defense looks like they could do some things, but I'm not going to get my hopes up because it's my Panthers. I'm going to cheer them on, but not get my hopes up. Don't do it, Be Live. Don't do it.
Rock MVP.
What? Why are we still doing that? Why are we still?
Is he not? He's not on the team.
Nope, he's not there.
Remember, he came home last year, and he was home, and with the video in the tunnel. And
Yeah,
I'm just asking. I don't know where he's at.
when he's sitting at home,
Yeah.
Okay.
without a job. I mean, what it is what it is at this point. Panthers didn't do him right, and now
You think he's got one of them big hats on, sitting at home?
One of the big
Eddy Cool.
Like
you know what? Eddy Cool. Amtrak the thing. Before I cuss him out,
all right.
because I think we're at a point where we should fire him like Zalatoris did with his caddy.
Wow.
And winning the PGA. So I mean, I think it'd be an improvement to our podcast if we just straight up fired Scott Donald. I said what I said. I said what I said.
Our podcast would not be the same. Oh, it would not be the same. All right, so here we go. I've had a chance to watch the Cleveland Browns play the Jaguars. Deshaun Watson looked a little rusty, but he did what he was supposed to do. The standout of the game is rookie running back Jerome Ford, the product of Cincinnati. He had a pretty good game, 10 carries for 57 yards and a long touchdown. Plus, he had 4 catches for 45 yards and another score. I look at it like this. Up in Cleveland, earlier in the week, Kareem Hunt requested a trade, and it was either extend me or trade me. Now, the Cleveland Browns, they have a very deep running back room. It's Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Demetric Felton, Dearness Johnson, and Jerome Ford. That's a very, very, very deep and very talented running back room. So if some of the guys under Nick Chubb show out, then that might make trading Kareem Hunt, a little bit more feasible, because Jerome Ford, he looked good. He looked real good. He was running the ball up the middle, bouncing off tackles, making people miss. Like, I guess with that trade, it really put people on notice. And out of all the running backs that I saw that night, it had to be Jerome Ford doing this thing. Had to be Jerome doing this thing, really. All right, fellas. And the next question is, what first-year head coach are you most interested in? What he'll do successful-wise, and what situation is the most intriguing?
Mine easily. I've spoken plenty about this during the off season. It has to be the Las Vegas Raiders and Josh McDaniels. He literally has all the pieces to succeed. This is people keep sleeping on the Raiders. They still haven't picked this 4th in the division, and I'm just like, some people gonna be. If I had enough capital, if I had some capital, if I had some money, I could bet, like some people do. I would bet money that the Raiders win the entire division. They have them 4th. I think some teams are not going to be ready for how dynamic the Raiders are going to be. And Josh McDaniels, he's a proven coach. He's proven. And not just, I think that with his stability, Derek Carr has been underrated his entire career. Devontae Adams is the number 1 wide receiver in the league. And another underrated dude, my boy, representing Socastee High School by way of the Grand Strand, the 843 Low Country Atlantic Coast side of South Carolina, Hunter Renfrow. All he does is continue to improve. I'm waiting. Darren, come on, man. They're going to score and score a lot. Their only weakness may be slightly on the defensive side, and that's outside of their front 4 on the defensive line. Like, their defensive line is dynamic. I'm waiting to see it. Josh McDaniels, he has the tools. He has a team that I could easily see do a lot of damage. So I'm going to be watching them very, very closely this season. What say you, Mr. Money Man, about to be fired from the Sports Bros podcast? Scotty D.
Josh McDaniels is getting a do-over because it didn't end well in Denver, and then he took the Colts job and gave it right back before he ever even got to town. And this is his chance to shine, sort of step out of the Belichick shadow. And he did help Brady's development, to some measure. He was guiding him along the way. So I agree with you. I think the Raiders are going to be very formidable this year, and that's going to be interesting to see if he can do that. But I'm also looking towards Doug Peterson getting a do-over in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Because he kind of went out of Philly with the whimper. I mean, he's on top of the world at one point. He caught lightning in the bottle with Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl without the guy who was, his MVP, nearly MVP quarterback, who now being apart from Peterson has kind of fallen apart. So Carson Wentz is a bit of a reclamation in Washington this year. He's trying to get his career back on track, but Peterson's getting another opportunity, and we'll see if he really did catch lightning in the bottle with Philly, or if he has the touch here, because now we're looking to see if he can develop another quarterback. There was no stability at the head coaching position for him last year. The Urban Meyer experiment was a complete disaster. It was awful. And I think we all questioned that hire from the get-go last year. None of us liked that hire. We all thought it was going to be bad. We didn't know it was going to be an absolute dumpster fire to the point of him not even getting through the season. So make some strides. What? You did what?
I absolutely. But I call that dumpster fire from Jump Street. There was no. I was waiting for him to get fired.
Yeah, but the guy didn't make it through the first season. I mean, he didn't make it through one season. I mean, none of us thought it was going to be good, but you usually at least get a season in before you get shown to the door. And I don't even think he got through the whole season.
How did you not travel with your team?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that Doug Peterson will do that. I'm assuming he will get through this season, but Jacksonville has accumulated a lot of high picks the last couple of years, and 3 games total in the last 2 years. You gotta see some growth from your young quarterback this year, and the team in general. So that one's interesting to me too. I mean, they're all kind of there's several that are more interesting than others, but those two are the ones that stand out to me. How about you, Eddie? Cool. What are you looking at?
I want to see what the situation in Denver is going to be with first-year coach Nathaniel Hackett. I want to see how that's going to turn out with them acquiring Russell Wilson during the offseason in the trade, and then them returning wide receivers other than Tim Patrick going down for the season with a torn ACL. Denver seems to be a very interesting situation because this is Hackett's first job as a head coach, and in a highly competitive division because they have to deal with Vegas, they have to deal with the Chargers, and they have to deal with Kansas City. You can't forget about them. Who they've also taken hits at the wide receiver core too. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, what the Broncos do, because they'll be a very interesting watch this season. Can Russell get it done in the mile high and say Broncos country, let's ride, or will he just get choked off the thin air and peter out and fall apart? But that's a very interesting situation I want to see. And also I want to see the chemistry between Devontae Adams and Derek Carr in Vegas. I want to see them light it up. Like B-Live says, they were picked last to finish in their division, but they're going to make some noise. They're going to fight for a wild card spot, definitely. I won't be surprised if the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos represent the AFC West in the wild card. It's possible. It's possible.
Let me ask you guys this: out of the 3 that we picked, who do you think is under the more pressure this year? Who do you? I mean, a lot of times, first-year head coaches, you get a little leeway because you don't expect much from the get-go. Which of those 3, or do you feel are most pressure? Eddie, I'll ask you that first. To at least show something. I mean, you got to do something good, right? I mean,
I think for Hackett.
You think Hackett? Well,
yeah, I think
he has the most proven. He has the most proven commodity at quarterback.
Yep, I think Hackett, followed by Peterson, followed by who's the other guy we just mentioned? Hackett, Peterson, and
McDaniels, Josh
Yeah.
McDaniels.
and McDaniels. Yeah. Go ahead, be live.
I still think that out of the three, the person that has the most experience is Peterson, I would say. Josh McDaniels, he's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a head coach for a couple of stints. But I think just with the dynamic of what the Raiders have already been dealing with, the thing Hackett has he has the least amount of pressure on him just because of his experience standpoint. But on the other side, what do you do with his first time experience? Is this a building point for him, or is this a man you can't cut it? I think Peterson, they expect more from him just because he has done it before, and so I think he would need more immediate like at least some
they have to improve.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders still can be. I think the Raiders still can get away with a year. I think the Broncos can get away with a year. Peterson, I think, would be one that has the most pressure on him. Even though the Jaguars have not done anything, the Jaguars front office has done a lot this offseason to make that team be successful. And so, hey, you've done it.
They got to see improvement. You're right. And because of his reputation, he's got to show him something.
On top of that, it also almost benefits Hackett and McDaniels being in the division that they're in, because the AFC West, top to bottom, could be the toughest division. The AFC South, on the other hand, could be the weakest division.
So he has a chance. He has a chance to improve. He gets a couple games against the Texans, and Tennessee should still be tough. The Colts are a big question mark. I think McDaniels is going to be the one that's facing the most urgency to win, though, because that's a team that, going into last season, boy, they looked like they were going to. It looked like last year was going to be their year, and then all kind of disaster happened with.
They
with
were a
Rodgers.
playoff team.
They did make the playoffs.
They made the playoffs.
Right.
So I can
they
see
kind
that.
of limped into the playoffs. They had to win. Yeah. But there's more urgency there because they are a playoff team, and they need to build on that. And it's not like Carr's a rookie. He's been around a while, and they need that guy to, it's not like he has a huge window. He's like in his prime, but he's not entering it. He's been around there for a while. So, hey, there's no such thing as a non-pressure job when it comes to NFL head coach. They're all under pressure cookers.
Yeah, but you got to win now, or don't worry about it because we got your replacement standing right down the hall. All right, and when we come back right here on the Sports Bros podcast, we're going to talk about Fernando Tatis getting suspended and what that could mean for the Padres for this season and possibly parts of the next season. Coming right back at you here on the Sports Bros podcast. And as promised, we are back here at the Sports Bros podcast. When we left, before we went on our break, if you will, Fernando Tatis is in the news for all the wrong reasons. Let me go ahead and switch on gallery view because B-Live was just shaking his head. Scotty D is like, oh, are you serious, dude? Yeah, Fernando Tatis suspended for 80 games for using them performance-enhancing drugs to make him perform better. Scotty D, what say you, man? What you think about this whole situation, man? Do you think it destroys any chance they have to make the playoffs or contend for a wild card this year? And what does it say for the first handful of games next year?
No, they're going to make the playoffs. I think that team is still. I mean, the team is stellar without him. But what an addition he would have been had they got him back this year. The problem is they have invested a lot of money in this kid. And since they gave him that monster, was a 14-year, $350 million contract, whatever it was, something to that effect, he's not been reliable. I mean, he hurt himself in a motorcycle accident and missed all this season. And just when you think you're getting him back, he doesn't do his due diligence, and he takes something that he's not supposed to take for ringworm. Ringworm. The kid had a rash on his neck. He had ringworm. I mean, now if you're going to have to take something, you have to check it on the list of banned substances. I mean, if not, you're not in compliance. You might not have done it on purpose, but still, how many times have we heard these type of things through the years with athletes? I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't mean to do it. It's your job. That's part of your job, is to know that. So does it eliminate the Padres from winning a World Series? It does not, but it definitely hinders their chances some, because that's an electric bat. You're taking, well, not taking out of line because it's not in there, but it could have been a jolt for the offense for the last month of the season. I mean, the kid had, if I'm not mistaken, he led the National League in home runs last year, I think, right? Didn't he hit over 40 home runs and lead the league last year? So, I mean, and no, you're not expecting any kind of major drop off. He's 24 years old, 23 years old, whatever he is. He's a kid, and he's in his, he should be in the missing game stage. I mean, you shouldn't be missing because of injuries and stuff at that age. And he's so far not been reliable, and the owner is not happy with this. At first they didn't. The owner of the pod, I know that he at first did not try to seek to get any money back after that motorcycle incident, and they could have, but they wanted to keep good relations with the team. They just signed a kid for 14 years. They didn't want to go to a bumpy ride, but now he's starting to feel a little bit of trust issues, as it were, because this is two major incidents now, and the kid's not going to be ready for the first month of the season next year. He's going to miss 32 games to start the year next year. So bad look for this kid. I mean, it's early. He still has a lot of time to make things right in his career, but I mean, this is just a bad early patch. It's not. It doesn't look good. B Lives.
Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna see if I can come in real quick. So I'm checking my edge up. I'm checking my hairline real quick, because he got ringworm because of a haircut.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
How's that possible?
I have no idea, but this is what I'm reading up on. According to Bleacher Report, a bad haircut might have been the genesis of Fernando Tatis testing positive for a banned substance. And essentially, there was a spray called Trophobol. There's a lot of O's in this. Trophobol. And essentially, he just didn't read up on what the spray included. It's to treat ringworm, and the ringworm came from everything I'm looking at, dirty clippers. And just, it is very, very unfortunate that a haircut, clearly the guy's not taking drugs to enhance his performance. It was a haircut, and it was a spray. And certain medicines have steroids in them. Steroids is used for a lot of different things when it comes to the medical community. But at the end of the day, you got to know what you're doing. And when, as Scotty D has alluded to, that the Padres are paying him 14 years, $340 million, all guaranteed, you've got to do due diligence. And I think the term that Scotty D was looking for was buyer's remorse. And it's incredibly unfortunate, but the rules are rules, because if you don't prosecute this, then somebody else can use it in some other form, way, fashion, whatever. But should Major League Baseball review their drug policy again? They've been doing it forever. They've been trying to get this right, to get over the steroid era, and this is just, it's a huge blow. And so I focus more or less. I agree with you, Scotty D, where the Padres are going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. But without a bat of this nature, essentially the money that they're paying this guy to show up, and you now throw on a motorcycle accident and a bad haircut.
Wow.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, the person that gives a haircut to the head of creative, I mean, they go a little bit too far back on the.
Oh my goodness!
Hey,
wow!
Hey. Don't you do me like that?
Don't do.
Hey, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You know what? I cut my own hair because I know my hairline is all the way jacked up. That's why I sit back on the camera, because y'all need to see what's really going on. I don't have a professional hairstylist, and even I promise you, probably until the very, like, when we get some sponsors and make some money off of this, I'm still gonna cut my own hair until, like, I mean, you got to give me at least 6 figures I'm making before I actually have somebody else. Come on, man. I can't afford $25 every 2 weeks. Scotty D can, because he has to do a lot to put forth this handsome face that he has. Me, I just show up the way I show up, and all we get is nostrils right now. But 14 years, $340 million. There's 2 things you can afford.
And they're neatly trimmed. I'm going to tell you, they're trimmed.
His nose hairs are trimmed.
Clean clippers.
You can afford a nutritionist, and you can afford a decent haircut. Ringworm from a barber. Come on. That is new to me. That is new. And just, he got and his dad was the one that reported it. Yeah, he got a fungus due to a haircut. His mistake was not reading what it contains, which is what apparently makes him guilty of something totally unknown. Yeah, Dad, sorry, I know you're trying to take up for your son, but the rules are there for a reason, whether how inadvertent they may be. Like, I'm still on the point of, I need ayahuasca, whatever the thing that Aaron Rodgers was, some psychedelic tea that he was on. I need that to be banned too, because he has been an idiot, but he now has newfound clarity from some South American religious. So come on, bro. You was on acid. You were tripping balls. I said what I said on the air. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's an idiot.
But 80 games is tough.
And you know who's sad about it? A-Rod. A-Rod's sad. A-Rod said, man, these kids are making the same kind of mistakes I made. A-Rod, he's like the turd that won't flush. He just won't go away when it comes to the PED discussion. He's just lingering around the ball when it comes to PEDs. I don't know.
I'm just hanging out, chilling, swirling around, chilling. You thought? Nope, I'm here. I'm not gone. Yeah, it's a damn shame. Like, and that goes to show that anybody that goes to the barbershop and get the haircut, there's a relationship between the barber and the client. And, like Scotty D, he gets his haircut, every single week. As he mentions, his nose hairs are nicely trimmed, because when you get a certain age,
very trimmed.
Yep, yeah, very trim, because you get a certain age, you start getting those ear hairs and nose hairs.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah, and I don't recommend plucking them, because you'll damn near cry. Well, all I gotta say is, all I gotta say is, if you're a barber, clean your damn clippers. That's nasty. Also,
it almost sounds like the medicine that he got was probably from the barber, because I'm pretty sure, like, something of this nature, they're probably aware of it. And, and not something saying anything against the barber, but he's like, yo, damn, my bad, bro. Use this, spray it off, you should be good. Got you. And didn't even think twice about it could contain something. Like, you honestly, just be on the human side of it. You don't think that some type of spray that you would use that you got your head is jacked up. You got an itch and a fungus. Yo, my man's, bruh. Yo, you just cut my hair. Now I got a big old knot on the back of my neck. Yo, you got to fix this, man. I got the spray, man. Yo, use this.
Let's talk about some sports.
It's a terrible, terrible situation. Fernando Tatis, and this should be a lesson to all ball players, all on the professional level. It's just you got to really realize what you're doing, and it's very unfortunate. Not much else you can do about it at this point in time, because it is what it is.
Yep, it is what it is. And fellas, and speaking of dynamic partnerships, guess what time it is?
What time is it? Dynamic partnership. So I think we usually ask something about it and ask people's opinion. So is it that time?
Looking at my phone, because I ain't got my watch on. Looking at my phone, it's about that time for our favorite portion of the show. You guessed it. It is time once again for the choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey yo, button, hit it. Choices of the voices coming up next.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever, ooh, that felt so good, so loving Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You guessed it. I scared the hell out of Scott, the choices of the voices. Well, we ask you a question, you give us the answers, and we talk about it. We give you our answers too. We just talking, having good old conversation. With that being said, Scotty D, what's on tap for choices of the voices?
All right, so we asked, who did you feel is the best quarterback tight end combination, past or present, in NFL history? Lots of good combinations out there. And who did the people talk about, Eddie Cool?
All right, as I put us back on gallery view, here we go. Uncle Max, the Hall of Famer himself, he said Brady and Gronk are the greatest, but John Elway and Shannon Sharp were terrific. Yup, can't deny.
Those are two very good answers, and they were also modern. So, hey, hats off to...
You just had to do it. You could not help yourself. Wow.
You thought he was gonna pick like Norm Van Brocklin or something.
And Mike Dick, even though they never played on the team together.
Mike Dick and Sid Luckman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Uncle Matt. I couldn't help that one. When like we get the answers, but then when it comes to being on the air, and then when he read it, I was like, "He said Brady and Gronk? Yeah. That is recent." Oh, man.
Very recent.
I prepared myself for the historian in him. So my bad. You know what? I'm fired. I apologize.
Cut it out. Uncle Max, we love you, baby. We wouldn't have it any other way. All right, Trey Dizzle, he said it is definitely Jason Witten. Boy. And he said it's definitely Tony Romo and Jason Witten. He broke wide receiver records with this quarterback, Jason Witten. Yeah.
I like it.
I like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sensible, and let me make sure. Did he make it through choice of the voices without mentioning, or did you edit it out?
Mark the date. Mark the date. August 16th, 2022. Yeah, August 16th, 2022. Trey Dizzle didn't say anything about Dak.
Wow, a Cowboys reference, no Dak. Okay.
Hey, good for him.
We're growing up. He's right before our very eyes.
Look at you. All right. Next up, we got John DeFala. He says Brady and Gronk, not even close. Can't argue that one either.
That's two for Brady and Gronk. And yeah, that's I expected a lot of those answers. So hey, wrong about it at all.
Nope. All right, so move right along. We got Rodney Bellamy. He took the homer route. He said Jay Fiedler and Randy McMichael. He said,
Shout out to the Dolphins. Shout out to the Dolphins.
He said, nah, probably not. Favorite duo, Antonio Gates and Phillip Rivers. Or Rivers to Gates, if you will.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Can't beat that one. Terrible Pete Talansky, he says, as much as it pains me to my soul to say it, it's got to be Brady and Gronk. And he also shared the same sentiment as Joe DeFala, and it's not even that close.
That's three. All right.
That's three for the GOAT combination of all time. JR, he said Matt Ryan to Tony Gonzalez.
That one was a little bit longer than I thought it was. For some reason, I was thinking that it was only like a 1 or 2 year deal, but I think they had 5 together.
Yep.
Is that possible? They played 5 years together, because that's a pretty good one.
Yep. Yeah, but they actually
Tony Gonzalez didn't have like a great quarterback. He had kind of a revolving door quarterback for most of his time in Kansas City. He had a couple of different guys come through there, but and Matty Ice was a MVP at one point. The year they went to the Super Bowl, and Gonzalez, was that Gonzalez last year? Was he, or was he even? He still stick around?
I think he retired.
He might have been gone already. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, JR was like, wait a minute, let me think about it. He did say Antonio Gates and Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates. He did say that. But still, good answers either way.
He played 5 seasons with the Falcons after playing, putting my quick math together, 12 with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, he had better numbers with Kansas City, but still he did enough. He did enough with the Falcons. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at JR. That was something different.
Solid.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Solid answer. Can't debate that one. All right, Matty Ice, Martin Tracy, he says, do you even have to ask me? Everyone knows the answers. Larry Bird to Kevin McHale.
All right, so go ahead and put another one down for Brady Gronk.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's like I was waiting.
But I appreciate the Boston.
I was waiting on the punchline. But I was like, that's Matty Ice for us.
That's it right there. All right, Tom Wynn, he said, I just like the Patriots, and there have been great winning pairs like Fouts and Winslow, as pictured in the description. He said, but I think it has to be, you guessed it, Brady and Gronk.
That's 5.
Yep, that's 5 for Brady
and
Gronk. Yep. Joey Jacobs, he says, at the risk of sounding biased, Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates.
Joey Jacobs, he's a Wolfpack fan.
Yep. I understand that.
Okay. I like that.
Makes sense. All right. And Craig Burns, he said the duo was dynamic for the Patriots last century. Drew Bledsoe to Ben Winter Coates.
That was a good combination. I had Ben Coates in fantasy football in the early 90s. I like that one. I like that. That's a different spin.
I like that. I'm here for it. Good answer. I love those answers that are a little bit off the wall, but they do still apply. So yeah, I'm here for it. Okay.
Well, there's another off the wall one on here from my Uncle Jack. I don't know if you saw that one.
I didn't. What did Uncle Jack say?
Terry Bradshaw to Grossman, Randy Grossman. He might have thrown like 2 passes a year to Grossman back then. The Steelers dynasty had Benny Cunningham at tight end also, but I think it was Randy Grossman. She says my aunt put that answer up there for me for when I was just a pup. So, and
hey
man.
I was back with the Steelers dynasty was winning the Super Bowl. So. Shout out to Terry Bradshaw. Okay, I got you.
All right.
Thanks, Uncle Jack.
Shout out to Uncle Jack, Uncle Max, Trey Dizzle, Joe DeFala, Rodney Bellamy, J.R. Speaks, Terrible Pete Talansky, Martin Tracy, Tom Wynn, Joey Jacobs, and Craig Burns for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Be Live, greatest QB tight end combo. Who you got?
Well, y'all should know me by now. Like I'm never one that goes with the norm. So I'm gonna give an honorable mention. Like if I was going to realistically answer this question, I really like the duo of Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates. I really like that answer. The obvious answer is Brady and Gronk, but I like Philip. Antonio Gates was a wide receiver. He put up wide. Like Gronk was a great red zone target, and they have the record for most touchdowns. But Antonio Gates put up wide receiver numbers when it came to receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I feel like it. I mean that's where my vote would be at. But my answer for the best quarterback tight end combination in history, even though he didn't play for Dabo Swinney, all roads do lead to Dabo and all roads lead to Clemson. And I got to go with Joe Montana and come on with it.
Dwight Clark.
It was dubbed as, yes, sir, from the Clemson University, Dwight Clark. Joe Montana, Dwight Clark, famously dubbed, known as D-Catch. Come on, man. You know I had to do it.
But didn't Dwight Clark get listed as wide receiver more often than not?
I could have. I don't know. It just felt good to say it. I thought in my mind, if I could pull up some, do some research real quick. I thought he was a tight end.
I always did too, but I thought they listed him at receiver for a minute. I don't know. I always thought he was a tight end too, and then I thought I saw at one point they're like one of the great wide receivers, Dwight Clark, but I always thought he was a tight end also. But he played it in that Montana West Coast offense kind of thing as a receiver at points. But I'm not going to hate on your answer.
Well, I appreciate that.
I hate the answer, but I'm not going to hate on you for saying it. I don't appreciate the Dwight Clark reference. You know, when it comes to the catch, we've already talked about that in recent memory. So,
did that strike a nerve or something?
It sounds like
that one hurts. That hurts. that one really hurts. Hurts real bad.
Oh man, I understand it. You know. Yeah.
I like Peyton Manning to Dallas Clark a little bit better than I like Montana Dwight Clark, honestly.
I understand it, but you know, I did do a little research, and you know, jug, jab. And...
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
You know me, I had to do it
by law. You had to do it by law. So that leaves me. Scotty D, did you tell us your combo yet?
No, because it's. Am I still here? Yeah. I actually think the Brady and Gronk one is third.
Ooh. All right, let's hear it.
And I'm having a hard time not picking Rivers and Gates. So I kind of think that their numbers are too good to ignore, because they combined for 95 touchdowns, over 9,000 yards, 774 catches. But I have to tell you, I would take the Tony Romo Jason Witten combination over Brady Gronk. I really would, because that was Tony Romo's favorite target, and Tony Romo gets a lot of slack because they didn't have postseason success, but neither did Rivers and Gates. Kind of the same thing. They also didn't. And people tell me Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, and he didn't have postseason success either. So if we're just going strictly by what I saw during the season, Tony Romo and Jason Witten were Witten was his security blanket, and he was his go-to. And the guy had great hands. And then Tony Romo's biggest moment in the playoffs that he actually came through in the clutch, he needed a fourth down conversion against the Lions, and he got it by throwing the ball to Jason Witten, and the Cowboys ended up winning that game. Witten is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I can't see him not getting into the Hall of Fame. They actually have a slight edge, I think, with the most all-time catches in the combination, 786. Witten didn't catch as many touchdowns. You know, the Cowboys would get down and try to run the ball, I think, a lot more when they would get down close to the goal line. They would throw. Romo threw a lot of jump balls at Des Bryant in those close goal line situations. He didn't have as many as those kind of goal line catches as Gronk had, or even Gates. And Gates was just I mean, he was known as a leaper. You know, he was a basketball player that just put on pads and went out and made plays. I can't say I as much as I love Romo and Witten, or even Aikman, Novacek for that matter. I just can't. I can't pick over Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates. And I really wasn't planning on that until I started really looking at this the last day or so. So that's I can't pick over those two, but I can't pick Gronk and Brady over Romo Witten. Sorry. I don't always go with a homer pick, but I am on this. So
no, the thing about this, I'll give you a solid on this. That's not a homer pick at all. I don't think so, not one bit. Like that, you gave a very compelling argument. You brought facts to the table, and I will, once in my life, I will actually endorse that. Romo to Witten was a dynamic duo. And
boy, do I feel warm and fuzzy over that one.
Don't just as long as you would just allow this moment to be just this moment, you carried on to some other BS, then I'm gonna have to retract my statement immediately. You already know how our dynamic is. So,
okay, let's hurry and get Eddie cool before we ruin the moment. Eddie cool.
Yeah, because I'm like, keep talking your way out of it. Keep on talking. I'm just sitting here. 1 Mississippi, 10 Alabama, 3 Wisconsin. No, anyways, when I first heard the question, the first duo that came to my mind was Antonio Gates and Philip Rivers. I will say that Antonio Gates and Philip Rivers they're my pick because they were just prolific, consistent. Like the tight end is considered the safety blanket for a quarterback. It's really considered a safety blanket. And then whenever he, need a clutch touchdown or a clutch catch, Antonio Gates was right there. And like you said, Antonio Gates did play basketball at Kent State University. And like Scotty D said, he was similar to Tony Gonzalez. He threw on some pads and learned how to run a few routes. And he jumped, won a lot of jump ball situations. And I think Antonio Gates, whenever he's eligible for the Hall of Fame, he should get in. There's no
no doubt.
So,
no doubt.
No.
Yeah. Antonio Gates is one of my favorite players of all time. I remember the last time I had him a few years ago on one of my fantasy football teams. I forgot who the Chargers were playing on Monday night. The Chargers needed a touchdown to win, and lo and behold, guess what Philip Rivers found in the end zone for the touchdown, and that got me a win in fantasy football. So, Gates, Rivers to Gates. That's my pick right there. That's been another edition of say it, Scotty D. What'd you say?
I was gonna say shout out to Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow too, because those guys were a little ahead of their time. So shout out to those guys. I'm
gonna throw in a homer pick real quick. Cam Newton to Greg Olsen. I had to throw in a homer pick.
Cam VP.
But hey, Greg Olsen was that dude. He definitely made Cam Newton look very good. And when he got hurt, you could see a difference in the team. But that's neither here nor there. I had to throw him a homer pick. Keep pounding. You already know it. Let's get it. Let's go. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because didn't Greg Olsen have 3 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards with Cam Newton, the quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, he's definitely up there.
Okay. Well, that's what's up. All right, with that being said, shout out to everybody who participated in this week's edition of the Choices of the Voices. Scotty D, what's on tap for next week?
We're going to do actually kind of a little prediction question in regards to the NFL season coming up. We were talking earlier about coaches we're looking forward to starting their careers with their new teams. We're going to ask you what current NFL coach you feel is most likely to get the axe at the end of the season or sooner. What NFL coach is most likely his seat's burning up? What NFL coach is most likely to get booted by the end of at the end of the season or sooner? Could be during the season. And that, Eddie, will give us something to talk about next week.
Yep. And something tells me that 2 coaches are going to be represented by the 2 teams that we are fans of. I'm just going to throw that. Spoiler alert. So,
woo. Yeah. Seats on fire, and it ain't hemorrhoids burning that ass up.
I'm trying to tell you, boy, you got to put some preparation H on that bad boy. All right.
Real quick. All right, with that being said, check us out for another edition of The Choices of the Voices. Coming up next, we got a round of pepper, and as I always say, baby, please don't sneeze on me. Keep your boogers to yourself. Round of pepper coming right up after this.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard a woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, you know how we do it. A round of pepper. Rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. And the 3 E's, they go in no particular order. With that being said, I'll go first.
Is it 3 or 4?
It's 4, B-Live. Today I just can't count, damn it. All right, as I said before, here we go, all right. My first pepper point, this day in history back in 1927, Yankee slugger Babe Ruth tees off Tommy Thomas in the 5th inning to hit the first home run out of Comiskey Park. New York beats the White Sox 8-1. So the Bambino knocking them out in Comiskey Park. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right. Will Zalatoris has finished runner-up in a couple major championships, but he never actually won a PGA event. That is until Sunday afternoon. Zalatoris finally got that W that eluded him in the major championships earlier this year, beating Sepp Straka on the 3rd hole of the playoff. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was very interesting. They had to replay 18. Pretty nondescript first time. Then both guys were in trouble off the tee the second time they played 18. They both miraculously were able to pull par out. And then on the 3rd hole of the playoff, they went back to the 15th hole, and it was a par 3. Both guys went for the flag. Straka ended up in the water, which resulted in a double bogey. Zalatoris' ball bounced like a ping pong on the rocks and settled right next to the green. However, he couldn't get his club under the ball, so he also took a drop, went back, and from 96 yards out, he dropped one right next to the hole. A bogey putt was the winner for Will Zalatoris in his first ever PGA win, and I assure you, fellas, it will not be the final of his career. Young Will Zalatoris, now a PGA winner. Be live to you.
And with a new caddy, and we might need a new sports pro.
That's right. He fired his caddy last week, and his new caddy is undefeated.
Wow.
All right. So my first pepper point is nostalgic, wonderful, sweet, and amazing all at the same time. Because, well, when it comes to this guy, there's only 4 players in Major League Baseball history that has more home runs than this dude right here. By the light, so we talked about A-Rod earlier with 696. Babe Ruth with 714, Hank Aaron with 755, and Barry Bonds with 762. Albert Pujols, mind you, on Sunday left the yard not once but twice against the Milwaukee Brewers, and now is at 689 home runs.
Ooh.
He has 48 games to go this season to see if he can pass A-Rod and get to that ever elusive 700 home runs. I am on Albert Pujols' watch. I want to see him do it. 48 games to hit 11 home runs. Come on, Pujols. We want to see it. Eddy Cool. Bing! The ball.
I think he does it. I'm calling it now. I think Albert Pujols does it.
I don't know.
He only has 10 in 114. So for him to get 11 and 48, but man, hitting 2 on Sunday, that might ignite that fire. You know he's got to be looking at that number. You know he has to. The fans are looking at that number. Everybody is looking at that number. I want them to at least pass 8.
Yeah.
But we shall see, man. We shall
see. All right, here we go. Second pepper point of mine. Football season is the main focus, but guess what? Basketball season, it's still lingering around too. All right, because if it ain't Kevin Durant talking about he want people gone and out damn spot, we've got news about the upcoming NBA schedule. All right, including some interesting Christmas Day matchups and a very interesting opening night game as well too. All right, per CBS Sports, as you can see right here. All right, so the 2022-2023 NBA schedule is expected to be released in the coming days. But there's already been several leagues of important games on the league's calendar. It's already been reported that the reigning, defending NBA World Champions, the Golden State Warriors, are expected to host LeBron James and the Lakers on opening night, which is set for October the 18th. And as I'm scrolling through the article, although it has not been made official, according to CBS Sports, once again, that's where I'm getting this from. See, although nothing has been official just yet, here are 5 games expected to take place on Christmas: the Golden State Warriors versus the Memphis Grizzlies, Dallas Mavericks versus the Lakers, Nuggets versus the Suns, the Knicks versus the 76ers, and the Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Those games seem very interesting, but we'll see in the next few days whether those games are fact or false. We shall see. Over to you, Scotty D.
And just to be straight, no slam ball on Christmas Day, right? That we did say that's starting later.
Get to your second pepper point.
Okay. All right, so I got to give a little bit of a shout out here to Washington, Pennsylvania. As you can see the scene behind me here, for those of you who can see on YouTube, or those of you who are a sports bro recording with me. The Little League World Series is going on right now, but so is the Pony League World Series, and that is ages 13 and 14, and they are some of the best in the world are in Washington, Pennsylvania right now. My Washington team won their first game by defeating London, England. They moved on to lose a 1-0 heartbreaker to Palmview, Texas in the second game. They went to the losers bracket where they rebounded and defeated San Jose, California. So now they're 2-1, which exceeded my expectations, because these are teams that are from around the world, from Bay County, Michigan, Hagerstown, Maryland, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, Taipei, China. There's a Puerto Rican team in it this year. So this is literally a World Series. These are teams from all over. So I just want to give a little kudos to Washington, Pennsylvania. I don't know who they're playing in their next game. At this point in the double elimination, that they lose, they are gone. But just wanted to give a little shout out, because this is a tradition that has been going on. My entire life is for Washington to host the World Series, and it's very cool for a town like ours to have something so cool happen every year. And the people that put the event on do a great job. The guys that make this, they make the baseball field absolutely beautiful. They work hard on it, and it's a great event here in Washpa, Washington, Pennsylvania. Be Live, over to you.
I say the Sports Bros one year go down and be the official podcast for the Pony League World Series and Wash Pa. Hey man, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool to witness.
And Scotty D and the family, they were on TV. They were watching real intently, very intently.
Well, we did get a little TV time during the national anthem the other day. Yes.
Yeah, it was very intense.
Nice. The Donnelly family, gotta love them. Except for the guy that's on the podcast. All right, cool. My second pepper point.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Jerry.
My second pepper point, I just want to simply put it this way. I don't have that much money in the world. I get by. I consider myself middle class, lower middle class. I make enough to enjoy a couple things. One thing that I do more than anything, because of the situations I put myself into, is that I utilize services that are around me to make sure I get from A to B in a responsible manner. When it comes to being a professional athlete and being either retired, whatever, however you manage your money is whatever you do. What you do not do, please, professional athletes, current, retired, whatever, stop getting behind the wheel of a car after you have been drinking.
Have you learned anything from Henry Ruggs?
Stop it. We have yet another victim. Stick to Skittles, my dude. Beast mode, bruh. Marshawn Lynch. I don't even want to know how you completely lost your left tire. Like, that is the tire that's underneath you. How do you and get drug out the car? You a big dude, they drug you out the car, which means you, bruh.
Slizzard.
Hey, I come on. I don't want to talk down on anybody because I've done it, man. I got t-shirts galore of me making bad decisions, but come on. I'm back to you make millions of dollars. You set aside something for Uber, Lyft, private driver, whatever you got to do. But when you get to a point, just say, hey, let me call somebody to come. I'm pretty sure somebody will come and get your Shelby GT500 so that you're not driving down the road with 3 tires instead of 4. Marshawn Lynch, I hope you get better. Hope you learn from this situation. Beast mode always. But yeah, I'm going to need you to do just a little bit better. Hashtag do better. Eddy Cool, swerving the ball.
Right, swerve. Not doing none of that. No, I can't afford that. All right, third and final pepper point. I didn't have one, but I got one now. Across the country, it'll be the start of high school football season. The kids have worked very hard this summer all across the country to go out in the field and have fun. There's been some instances where some kids that are seniors, they decided to go into the workforce early and skip a very important year of their childhoods, specifically their senior seasons. To those that went to training camp, came to the workout, participated in 2 days, shout out to y'all and have a great season. To every athlete participating this season in high school football, may it be a good one and a successful one, injury-free. Yeah, high school football right around the corner. Scotty D, over to you.
Love it. I'm excited for high school football myself here in old Western Pennsylvania. All right, as far as the fight game goes, Teofimo Lopez returned to the ring this past weekend, got a win over Pedro Campa with a 7th round stoppage. But the one I'm more interested in is coming up this weekend as Kamaru Usman is back in the cage taking on Leon Edwards. I can't see Kamaru Usman walking out of that cage without his title. But I'm going to tell you something, guys. He's getting closer to the end than he is at the beginning. He's 35 years old, and while he doesn't look like he's slowing down much, there's another guy coming up over the mountain with fangs. A guy named Kazmat Chimaev, and he looks nearly unbeatable. And there's a list of welterweights that are coming for you there, Kamaru Usman. So enjoy it while it lasts, because just when you think somebody's unbeatable, somebody gets them. That's the fight game. And that's what we saw with Teofimo Lopez when he was out there last year. He lost a surprising fight to George Kambosos. So I'm just saying, I don't think this is going to be the one where we see Kamaru Usman go down, but I feel like we might be on the verge of seeing his title reign come to a conclusion. Hope I'm wrong, but you never know. UFC pay-per-view coming up Saturday night. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and I know this is a little bit off the topic, but I did mention earlier that I was going to say something about Pete Carroll, the former Princeton head coach who passed away. We found out earlier today, I think he was 92, was it? Or
92.
92 years old. And he was the guy that was kind of known as the architect of the backdoor cut and the slow down offense. It was just the exact opposite of the Loyola Marymount type offense, which was just all chaos, put the ball up. These guys were more about setting screens and running a real slow tempo. And the first time I saw it, they upset Georgetown back in, I think, like March Madness, and I want to say it was like 94. And it was just something that was kind of mind-blowing to see these guys running this patient style of offense. And Pete Carroll is known for being like the architect of that at Princeton. So rest in peace, Pete Carroll. All right, B-Live, kicking it over to you, buddy, one more time.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that dedication to Pete Carroll. And probably some of what Virginia does in their style of play, their offense, probably attributes to him. All right. My third and final pepper point, as you should know, I tend on the side of ridiculous. And this once again.
Gallery view time.
This message goes out to all my young people, all of my Gen Zers, or I don't even know what kids.
Millennials.
I think we're considered millennials. I think they go back. I don't like to be called a millennial. I think I have an old soul, but I attribute this to most kids that were born after 2000. The ones that you still have to show your card because it says 20 in front of it to get a drink. You see 19, you don't even have to worry about it anymore. We old. But Pittsburgh Pirates. My man was so excited that it called up from the minors.
Called.
He got called up that he is so attached to his technological device that he forgot to set it aside during a game. And he goes by the name of Rodolfo Castro. And you can see him speeding down the base path after a hit, headed to third base. And he goes in for the slide, and lo and behold, what falls out of his back pocket, but his cell phone. Why, in everything that's going on in the world today, as a professional baseball player, do you have your cell phone on you during a game? There's nothing you could be looking at that's more important than the game itself. Why is it in your pocket? Like, are you actually trying to get tweets in while you're in the dugout, as opposed to watching the actual game? Like, and so you see it just pop out, and I'm over here like, that really did just happen. Like, you really have it in your back pocket, and you forgot the whole time that you had in your back pocket and slid, and whoop. Third base coach was like, what do I do with this? Like, this is unheard of. And so I haven't heard anything where the MLB is looking for like punishment or any sort, because you're not supposed to have any electronic devices.
Correct.
Signs stealing all the other things and all the other. So I haven't heard anything of that. Maybe they're just chalking it up to youthful exuberance. But for the love of God, learn how to interact with people outside of Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. Now, you can interact with us on those various social media websites. You can please associate with us.
Yeah.
But learn how to just set it down every now and again, especially during the game. Like, you could go 9 innings without checking to see if you need a swipe left or swipe right. I mean, come on.
He's actually been, and he's 23 years old, by the way, but he's actually been playing pretty well since that call up. He had a bad average last year and spent more time in minor leagues and was up, I think, for a cup of coffee earlier this year, but he's not playing terrible. The team is atrocious. They went 2-8 on the last 10-game road trip, but yeah, the Buccos seem to annually do something that is nationally looked at as very, very stupid. This year being one. Last year, our first baseman chasing Javi Baez back to home plate when all he had to do was step on first base for the third out of the inning. Yeah. Anyway, let's go Bucks.
Yeah. And according to the story, I guess he has a sliding glove. He puts on a sliding glove to protect his hand, and so therefore, so he had the glove and can't reach in his back pocket or whatever. Because I guess it's like an oven mitt that he puts on his hand to protect his hand from sliding. This is an actual thing. Like
Eli, it should have been in the dugout. It
should have been in his locker.
Yeah, it should never. Yeah.
Come on, bro. But yeah, there's your pepper. There's you being ridiculous, Pittsburgh Pirates. But hey, wish him the best. I'm pretty sure he learned from it. But yeah, let the devices go. I guarantee you, we will still be here after the game. I promise you. We're not going anywhere. We've been here for 3.5 years. I know you want to listen to us on the Sports Bros podcast, and you made it. You made it on the Sports Bros podcast. You can listen to us after the game is over with. I promise you, we'll always be here. 168 episodes strong. Yes, sir.
And as B-Live mentioned, social media, you can check us out there on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube. Just click the Linktree link in the description box, all right? You'll see it. Hang out with the Sports Bros. However I decide to title it, it's right there. Click the link. It'll take you there. It'll take you where you need to go. Shout out to our new subscribers, our new listeners, our new followers. We love you. We appreciate you. And please, 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 please spread the word. All right, fellas. Y'all want to say anything before we get the hell up out of here and watch something? Hey, pretty soon, we'll be able to watch football.
Yeah. Hit up my boy Eddy Cool, I-90 Sports, representing the Northern Ohio region. And it comes to high school football this year, correct? You'll be covering that as well, right?
Yep, I'll be covering that as well too.
Yes,
I'll be a busy man. I got a lot going on, so yeah, I got a lot going on. And Scotty D, don't you got some trivia coming up pretty soon?
We just completed one. I am actually getting ready to start doing some high school football myself. I'll be up in the press box here for Trinity High School for 2020 season. Let's go Hillers!
Let's go Hillers!
All right, there's the assistant athletic director for Trinity High School, the Hillers. Oh, man, gotta love it. And also, quick shout out to Straight Gas Bike Club. Did you do a voiceover for them?
Yes. If you're listening, your boy Eddy Cool does voiceover work. So if you're interested, please holler at me. Let's talk some business. And shout out to the Straight Gas Bike Club back in the home state.
That's my cousin's Rizel. He's the president. Corey representing, you know what I'm saying, the Gore family by way of the Livingston and Hemingways, and my cousins and my people. Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Scotty, what's that song you're playing?
There's a song by a group called Onyx. Slam!
Wow. And want to give a quick shout out to Scotty D's lighting crew back there. He had all the special effects from the TV he's watching while we're doing the podcast. We can see the flashing from the TV, Scott. God.
Let the boys be boys. Slam.
Hey, cool, saw it. He ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna say it. He's got the special effects. I'm like, he is watching Monday Night Raw while he's recording the podcast. I'm seeing it. I'm like, yeah.
And in closing, do something nice for yourself. If you can't do something nice for someone else, they'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Be a blessing, and not a burden. We about to go watch Monday Night Raw. Go South Carolina Gamecocks. Go North Myrtle Beach Chiefs. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm up out of here. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Man, what is that? B-Now, get us up out of here.
The Gamecocks got 2 votes in the AP preseason poll. Clemson's number 4 in the nation. Yes, sir.
Just couldn't help yourself, could you?
I could not. You were the one that said go Gamecocks. I was like, well, I had to put that out there. Yes, sir.
Your nickname should be Richard Petty. All right, see y'all next week. Another episode of Sports Bros Podcast. Slam!
Petty Express.
Let the boys
Slam Ball 2023. Bam, 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 bam.
All right, see y'all next week. Bye. Hey, we're having fun over here at the Sports Bros Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Eddy Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. And do you want some more of the Sports Bros Podcast in your life? Wait a minute, don't answer that. The answer is yes. And I know you want some more of the Sports Bros Podcast in your life. Do us a small favor. Go to the description box, click our Linktree link, and you'll see all the links on how to follow the Sports Bros Podcast. Once again, thanks for listening.